I've been lying for 8 years. I know what happened to Chloe Barrett.
College student vanished after party. 8 years later, her jealous best friend finally confessed. A Cold Shadows YT original investigation. Welcome to Cold Shadows YT, where buried truths refuse to stay silent. Before we begin, if you're drawn to stories where jealousy, silence, and secrets collide, hit that subscribe button. This is a story about how envy can cost someone everything, including their life. The Anonymous Letter, October 2019, Marion Hollow, Ohio. Detective Sam Rivers stood by her office window, watching autumn leaves scatter across the empty parking lot. In her hand was a brown envelope with no return address. Inside, a single sheet of paper with trembling handwriting. I've been lying for 8 years. I know what happened to Chloe Barrett. I watched her die, and I did nothing because I was jealous. She had everything I wanted, especially him. Sam's breath caught. Chloe Barrett. The name hadn't crossed her desk in years, but she'd never forgotten the case. A 21-year-old journalism student who vanished after a university party in October 2011. No body, no witnesses, no closure. Just a void that swallowed a bright, ambitious girl and left her family shattered. Sam pulled the old case file from the archive. The cover was worn, edges frayed from being opened and closed too many times by investigators who found nothing. The first page showed Chloe's missing person photo. Dark hair, warm brown eyes, radiant smile, and a red dress. The last photo taken before she disappeared. Next to her in that photo was Iris Kane, Chloe's roommate, best friend since freshman year, the girl who claimed she had no idea what happened. But this letter, unsigned, desperate, reeking of guilt, suggested otherwise. Sam picked up her phone. I need handwriting analysis. Compare this to student records from 2011. Focus on Iris Kane. She knew it would take time. But after 8 years of silence, someone was finally ready to speak. And Sam wasn't going to let this voice disappear again. This story is brought to you by Cold Shadows YT, where every buried secret eventually surfaces. Part 1. The Triangle, Spring 2011. 3 months before Chloe vanished, Marion University was buzzing with the energy of spring semester. In room 214 of Lancaster Hall, Chloe Barrett sat cross-legged on her bed, laptop open, fingers flying across the keyboard. She was writing an exposé about grade manipulation in the communications department, dangerous territory that could cost her everything. Across the room, Iris Kane pretended to study, but her eyes kept drifting to the window where Alex Bennett was throwing a football with friends in the quad below. Alex Bennett. Golden-haired, easy smile, journalism major with dreams of becoming an investigative reporter. The boy both girls had fallen for, though only one of them would ever say it out loud. You're staring again, Chloe said without looking up from her screen. Iris's cheeks flushed. I'm not... Iris. Chloe turned, a knowing smile on her face. I can literally see his reflection in your glasses. It doesn't matter anyway, Iris said quietly, closing her textbook. He doesn't even know I exist. It was true, and both of them knew it. Alex had been circling Chloe since freshman year. He saved her a seat in media ethics, brought her coffee before early morning classes, looked at her like she was the only person in the room. And Chloe? She treated him like a friend, nothing more. You should talk to him, Chloe said, returning to her laptop. He's actually really sweet once you get past the jock exterior. But Iris had tried. She'd joined the student newspaper where Alex was a staff writer. She'd volunteered for the same campus events. She'd even worn makeup and styled her hair the way magazines suggested. None of it mattered. When Alex looked at their dorm room door, his eyes always searched for Chloe. What made it worse was that Chloe didn't even appreciate it. She was too obsessed with her investigation, too focused on exposing Professor Vincent Cross and his network of academic corruption. Alex would text her, and she'd forget to respond. He'd invite her to parties, and she'd decline to work on her research. Meanwhile, Iris would have given anything for one fraction of that attention. "I don't get it," Iris said one evening after Alex had stopped by, again, with takeout for Chloe. "Why don't you just date him? He's obviously crazy about you." Chloe looked up from the Chinese food carton, chopsticks paused mid-air. "Because I don't feel that way about him, and I won't lead him on just because he's nice." "So you're just going to let him keep pining? I'm hoping he'll realize I'm not interested and move on." Chloe set down her food. "Maybe to someone who actually appreciates him. Someone like you." The words should have been kind, but to Iris, they felt like a slap. Someone like you, the backup, the second choice, the friend who got the leftovers. "I don't want him to settle for me," Iris said, her voice sharper than intended. "I want him to choose me." Chloe's expression softened. "Iris, forget it." Iris grabbed her jacket. "I'm going to the library." She left before Chloe could respond, before the tears she'd been holding back could fall. What Iris didn't know was that there was someone else watching from the shadows, someone who would use that jealousy. Someone who saw an opportunity in the growing rift between two friends. Professor Vincent Cross had been monitoring Chloe for weeks, and he'd noticed that the girl who was brave enough to expose him had one weakness. She trusted her best friend completely. Part 2. The Other Woman. Rachel Park had been Alex's girlfriend freshman year, before Chloe arrived and effortlessly stole his attention without even trying. Now a senior, Rachel watched the triangle from a distance with bitter satisfaction. She'd moved on, technically, started dating someone else. But watching Alex chase after someone who didn't want him while ignoring someone who did, namely Iris, gave Rachel a twisted sense of validation. She cornered Iris outside the library one afternoon in late September. "Still playing second fiddle?" Rachel asked, falling into step beside her. Iris stiffened. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Please, everyone can see it. You follow Chloe around like a puppy. Do her laundry. Cover for her when she skips class to work on her little investigation." Rachel's voice dripped with false sympathy. "And she repays you by stealing the only guy you've ever cared about. She didn't steal anyone, didn't she?" Rachel stopped walking, forcing Iris to face her. "Think about it. Before Chloe, Alex was just a normal guy. Available, approachable. Then she shows up with her perfect hair and her fearless attitude, and suddenly he's obsessed, even though she treats him like an afterthought." Iris wanted to argue, but couldn't find the words. "You know what your problem is?" Rachel continued. "You're too nice. You think if you just support Chloe enough, work hard enough, wait patiently enough, eventually you'll get noticed. But that's not how it works. Some people take everything without even realizing it. And some people, like us, have to watch it happen." She walked away, leaving Iris standing alone with poison seeping into her thoughts. That night, back in their dorm room, Iris watched Chloe pack her research materials into a worn leather journal, the one she never let anyone see, the one that contained all the evidence against Professor Cross. "Big meeting tomorrow?" Iris asked. "Yeah." Chloe zipped the journal into her backpack. "I'm meeting with the dean. If this goes well, Cross and everyone protecting him are finished." "What if it doesn't go well?" Chloe paused, meeting Iris's eyes in the mirror. "Then I'll keep fighting. Some things are worth the risk." Easy for you to say, Iris thought. You've never had to fight for anything. Everything just falls into your lap. A knock interrupted them. Alex stood in the doorway with his hopeful smile and 2 coffee cups. "Thought you might need caffeine for your big meeting," he said to Chloe. "Thanks, Alex." Chloe took the cup but didn't invite him in. "I really need to prep, though." "Right, of course." His smile faltered. "Good luck tomorrow." After he left, Iris couldn't hold it in anymore. "Why do you keep doing that?" "Doing what?" "Dismissing him. He's trying so hard and you just—" She stopped herself. Chloe turned fully toward her. "Iris, I've been clear with Alex. I value his friendship, but that's all it is. I can't help how he feels." "No," But you could help how you act. You let him bring you things. You let him hope. And meanwhile, people who actually care about you. She cut herself off again. People like you? Chloe asked gently. Iris felt her face burn. Forget it. Iris. I said forget it. The tension hung between them like fog. Finally, Chloe sighed. I'm going to take a walk. Clear my head before tomorrow. After she left, Iris sat on her bed, staring at Chloe's backpack, the one with the journal, the evidence that could destroy Professor Cross. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. She doesn't appreciate what she has. The investigation, the boy, the friend. Some people have too much. Maybe it's time things balanced out. Iris stared at the message, heart pounding. She should have deleted it, should have shown Chloe. Instead, she saved the number. Because part of her, a dark, ashamed part she'd never admitted existed, agreed. Part 3. The party, October 22nd, 2011. The Sigma Theta Gamma end-of-semester party was in full swing at the house on Chestnut Street. Music pounded through the walls, cups overflowed, and students packed every room in that desperate, frantic way of people trying to forget about midterms and deadlines. Chloe arrived at 9:17 p.m. wearing the red dress from the photo that would later become her missing person poster. Iris came with her, dressed in black jeans and an oversized sweater, invisible as always beside Chloe's radiance. You didn't have to come, Chloe said as they entered. I know parties aren't your thing. You're right, Iris thought. I came to watch you shine while I fade into the background, again. But out loud she just said, it's fine. Alex found them within minutes, his face lighting up when he saw Chloe. You came. I wasn't sure you would with your big meeting tomorrow. It got moved to next week, Chloe said. Dean's schedule conflict. Relief flooded Iris. Chloe's meeting, the one that would expose Professor Cross, was postponed, which meant the journal in Chloe's backpack, sitting in their locked dorm room, would remain secret a little longer. Good, Iris thought, then immediately felt guilty for thinking it. Want to dance? Alex asked Chloe hopefully. Maybe later. I need to find Jenna first. She wanted to talk about the newspaper. Alex's smile dimmed, but didn't disappear. After Chloe walked away, his eyes landed on Iris, really seeing her for the first time that night. Hey, Iris. I didn't see you there. Of course you didn't, she thought. You never do. Want to grab a drink? He offered, probably out of politeness since Chloe had vanished into the crowd. They ended up on the back porch with cheap beer, Alex checking his phone every few minutes, obviously hoping for a text from Chloe. You really like her, Iris said. It wasn't a question. Alex ran a hand through his hair. Is it that obvious? Only to everyone. He laughed, but it sounded hollow. I keep thinking I don't know. If I'm patient enough, consistent enough, maybe she'll realize we'd be good together. Iris took a long drink to hide the bitterness rising in her throat. That's exactly what I thought about you. Maybe she's just not into you, Iris said, the words coming out harsher than intended. Alex flinched. Before he could respond, Rachel Park appeared like a ghost from the darkness of the yard. Well, well, the loyal friend and the hopeless romantic. Her smile was sharp. Waiting for Chloe to notice you both exist? Rachel, Alex started. Don't worry, I'm not here to cause drama. She leaned against the porch railing. I just saw something interesting. Chloe was arguing with someone by the back gate. Older guy, looked intense. Iris's stomach dropped. What did he look like? Distinguished, glasses, expensive watch. Rachel's smile widened. Kind of like a professor. Professor Cross. Iris stood abruptly. Where did they go? Toward the sports field, behind the equipment shed. Rachel checked her nails casually. Looked like she didn't want to be seen. Wonder what that's about. Iris pushed past her and Alex, her heart hammering. She reached the edge of the property where the manicured lawn gave way to the dark expanse of the university sports field. In the distance, she could make out two figures near a maintenance bunker, one tall and imposing, one smaller in a red dress. Chloe. Iris moved closer, staying in the shadows. She could hear raised voices now. "Told you to stop!" Professor Cross's voice was cold with rage. "You have no idea what you're interfering with. This goes beyond your naive little investigation." "I have recordings," Chloe shot back. "I have documentation. You can't threaten me into silence." "Can I?" He stepped closer, towering over her. "Think about what happens when this comes out. Think about who gets hurt. Your professors, your fellow students who needed those grades. Your friend Iris. Do you think she'll thank you for making her testify?" Iris froze. Her name. He said her name. "You think this is about grades?" Chloe's voice shook, but held firm. "This is about you abusing your power, exploiting students, and I won't let it continue." "Then you're more foolish than I thought." What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Cross grabbed Chloe's arm. She tried to pull away. He yanked her toward the bunker's open door. Chloe's voice rang out, clear and desperate. "Iris? Iris?" Iris heard her name, heard the fear, saw her best friend being dragged into the darkness, and she stood there, paralyzed not just by fear, but by something darker, something that whispered, "If she's gone, Alex will finally see you. If she's gone, you'll finally be first. If she's gone." By the time Iris's conscience screamed at her to move, to run, to do something, the bunker door had slammed shut. The field was silent except for distant party music. Iris ran back to the house, her mind racing with excuses. "I didn't see clearly. I wasn't sure it was her. I thought they were just arguing. I got scared and left." At 11:30 p.m., Alex found Iris by the kitchen. "Have you seen Chloe? She's not answering her phone." "No," Iris heard herself say. "Maybe she left early." It was the first lie. It wouldn't be the last. Cold shadows. YT reminds you, silence isn't neutrality. It's a choice. Part 4. The Investigation, 2011. The next morning, when Chloe's bed remained empty and untouched, Iris reported her missing. She played the worried roommate perfectly, cooperating with every police interview, organizing search parties, comforting Chloe's devastated parents. Detective Sam Rivers, then a junior officer, noticed something during her first interview with Iris. The girl's statements were consistent, maybe too consistent as if rehearsed. And when Sam asked about the party, Iris's hands trembled slightly before she clasped them in her lap. "You were the last person to see Chloe," Sam said gently. "Can you walk me through that night again?" "We arrived together around 9:20, Iris recited. "She talked to some friends. Around 11 she said she needed air and went outside. I waited for her, but she never came back. I thought she'd gone home early." "Did she seem upset? Worried?" "No, normal." But Iris's eyes flickered, just for a second, and Sam caught it. The investigation hit dead ends everywhere. The campus camera system had a convenient power failure that night. No witnesses saw Chloe leave the party. Her phone, wallet, and keys were found in her locked dorm room. Professor Vincent Cross had an alibi. He was supposedly at home with his wife. When Sam questioned Cross about his relationship with Chloe, he remained calm, almost bored. "She was a bright student," he said. "Ambitious, sometimes overly so. She had accusations about academic integrity in my department, but they were unfounded. The dean investigated and cleared everyone involved." "So you had no conflict with her?" "Detective, I have conflicts with students every semester. It comes with holding people to high standards." His smile was practiced. "But I certainly didn't make her disappear over a grade dispute." Sam didn't buy it, but without evidence there was nothing she could do. The case stalled. By 2012, media attention faded. Chloe's parents moved away, unable to bear the town where their daughter vanished. Iris transferred to a college in Colorado, claiming she couldn't handle the memories. Alex Bennett graduated and became a journalist, but not the crusading investigative reporter he'd dreamed of being. He wrote safe features for lifestyle magazines, as if Chloe's disappearance had broken something vital in him. And Professor Cross continued teaching for another 3 years before quietly retiring to Maine. The case file gathered dust in the archive, until October 2019, when an envelope arrived with trembling handwriting and a confession 8 years in the making. Part 5. The Wallet. After receiving the anonymous letter, Sam immediately flew to Denver to find Iris Kane. The woman who answered the apartment door was barely recognizable, thin to the point of frailty, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back severely. "I was wondering when you'd come," Iris said quietly. They sat in Iris's sparse kitchen. No photos on the walls, no signs of a life fully lived, just the hollow shell of someone who'd been running from their own shadow. "The letter," Sam began. "You sent it?" "Yes." "Why now? After 8 years?" Iris stared at her hands. "Because I'm tired. Tired of running. Tired of the nightmares. Every night, I see Chloe in that red dress, standing in the rain, asking me why I didn't help her. Tell me what happened." So Iris did. The whole ugly truth spilled out. The jealousy, the triangle with Alex, the professor's text message, standing frozen while Chloe was dragged into the bunker. "I heard her call my name," Iris whispered, tears streaming down her face. "And I did nothing, because part of me, God help me, part of me was relieved. If she was gone, maybe Alex would finally see me. Maybe I'd finally stop being invisible." Sam listened without judgment, taking notes. "The next morning," Iris continued, "I went back to the sports field. I found Chloe's wallet near the bunker. It had fallen during the struggle. She stood, disappearing into her bedroom, returning with a small box. Inside was Chloe's wallet, burgundy leather with her student ID still visible in the clear pocket. I kept it at first. Then I panicked and buried it in the backyard of the party house. I thought I was keeping hope alive, but really I was just burying evidence. Burying her." Sam sealed the wallet in an evidence bag. "Why didn't you tell the police what you saw?" "Because I was a coward." Iris met Sam's eyes. "And because by the time I realized what I'd done, it was too late. Cross knew I'd seen him. He texted me 2 days later. Smart girls know when to keep quiet. I was terrified. Do you still have that text?" "I deleted everything, changed my phone, moved across the country." Iris laughed bitterly. "But you can't outrun guilt. It follows you everywhere." Sam closed her notebook. "Iris Kane, I'm taking you in for questioning as a potential witness and accessory. You'll need a lawyer." "I know." Iris stood, grabbing a prepared overnight bag. "I've known for 8 years this day would come. I'm ready." As they drove to the airport, Iris asked quietly, "Do you think Alex ever wondered if I knew something?" Sam glanced at her. "I think a lot of people wondered. But wondering isn't evidence." "I broke his heart twice," Iris said. "Once when I let the girl he loved die, and again when I said nothing while he spent years looking for her." Sam didn't respond. Some confessions didn't need commentary. They just needed to be heard. Part 6. The Bunker. Based on Iris's testimony, Sam obtained a search warrant for the old maintenance bunker behind Marian University's sports field. The area had been abandoned for years, overgrown with weeds, forgotten by time. When they pried open the rusted door, the smell hit them first. Decay, mold, and something else. Something that had been sealed away in darkness for 8 years. The forensics team worked methodically. Within hours they found dried blood matching Chloe's DNA on the concrete wall, a torn piece of red fabric from the dress she'd worn, her silver crescent earring half buried in the dirt floor, and most damning, a red leather journal hidden in a gap between the wall and floor. Sam's hands trembled as she opened the journal. Inside was everything. Chloe's documentation of Professor Cross's grade manipulation scheme, recordings of their confrontations, names of other students he'd exploited. But the final entry, dated October 22, 2011, stopped Sam's breath. Meeting Cross tonight behind the sports field. He knows I have evidence. I'm scared, but I can't back down. If something happens to me, I've left copies with 3 people. Dean Martinez, though I'm starting to doubt him. Alex Bennett, who'll know what to do. And Iris, who I trust completely. Iris, if you're reading this, don't let them silence me. You're braver than you think. I believe in you. Sam closed the journal, eyes burning. Chloe had trusted Iris completely, and Iris had stood in the shadows and watched her die. The excavation continued for 2 more days. They dug beneath the concrete floor where ground-penetrating radar detected an anomaly. At 3 feet down, wrapped in plastic sheeting, they found Chloe Barrett's remains, still wearing the tarnished silver bracelet Alex had given her for her birthday. She'd been 21 years old, a student on the verge of exposing corruption, a girl with her whole life ahead of her, and she'd been murdered by a man who thought his reputation was worth more than her life. Part 7. The arrest professor, Vincent Cross, was living under the name Victor Crawford in a cabin outside Portland, Maine. When Sam and a team of federal agents arrived with an arrest warrant, he answered the door with a coffee mug in hand, utterly calm. "I was wondering how long it would take," he said. They found everything in his locked study, backup recordings Chloe had made, the threatening texts he'd sent Iris, detailed notes about problem students who needed to be managed. During interrogation, Cross showed no remorse. "She was going to ruin lives," he said matter-of-factly. "Not just mine. Do you know how many students I helped by adjusting their grades? How many careers I saved? Chloe Barrett wanted to burn it all down over some idealistic notion of integrity. So you killed her. I defended the system." He leaned back. "And frankly, if her so-called best friend had actually cared about her, she would have intervened. But she didn't. She stood there and watched because she wanted what Chloe had. The jealousy did my work for me." Sam forced herself to stay professional. "Vincent Cross, you're being charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and obstruction of justice. I'd like my lawyer now." As they led him away, Sam felt no satisfaction. Yes, they'd caught him. But it had taken 8 years, a jealous friend's confession, and the death of a brilliant young woman who deserved so much better. Part 8. The Trial. The trial of Vincent Cross became national news. The evidence was overwhelming. Forensics, recordings, Chloe's journal, and Iris's testimony. Iris took the stand in March 2020. The courtroom fell silent as she described that night. The jealousy, the paralysis, the sound of Chloe calling her name. "I told myself I was too scared to help," Iris said, voice breaking. "But that was only part of it. The other part, the part I'm most ashamed of, was relief. For just a moment I thought, if she's gone, he'll finally see me." The prosecutor asked gently, "Who is he?" "Alex Bennett, the boy we both loved, the boy who only loved her." In the gallery, Alex sat with his head in his hands. He'd submitted a victim impact statement but couldn't bring himself to attend every day. Seeing Iris, the friend he'd trusted who'd helped him search for Chloe, admit she'd watched her die was too much. The defense tried to paint Iris as the real villain, arguing Cross had acted in self-defense when Chloe attacked him. But the forensics told a different story. The angle of the injuries, the evidence of restraint, the methodical burial. After 3 weeks, the jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Vincent Cross was sentenced to life without parole. But as Sam watched him being led away, she knew the real sentence wasn't in a courtroom. It was the one Iris would serve for the rest of her life, knowing she could have saved her best friend and chose not to. Part 9. Alex's letter. 6 months after the trial, Sam received a letter from Alex Bennett. He'd written it after attending Chloe's memorial, where her parents finally had a place to grieve. "Detective Rivers, I wanted to thank you for never giving up on Chloe's case. My therapist says I need closure. but I don't think that exists. Not really. How do you close the door on someone who was murdered while her best friend watched? I've spent 9 years wondering what I could have done differently. If I'd been less obvious about my feelings, would Chloe have trusted me with her investigation instead of handling it alone? If I'd paid more attention to Iris, would I have seen the jealousy eating her alive? But here's what I keep coming back to. Chloe saw the best in everyone. She believed in Iris completely. She thought their friendship was unbreakable. And Iris repaid that trust by choosing jealousy over loyalty. I'll never forgive Iris. But I also understand her in a way I hate. Because I was jealous too, of Chloe's passion, her fearlessness, her certainty about what mattered. I wanted to be the person she relied on, and I wasn't. So maybe I failed her too, just in a different way. The truth is, Chloe deserved better than all of us. She deserved a friend who put her safety over her own insecurity. She deserved a justice system that listened when she reported harassment. She deserved to expose Cross and watch him face consequences while she was alive to see it. Instead, she got 8 years of silence and a friend who loved her so little that jealousy won. I'm dedicating my next book to Chloe. It's about systemic corruption in universities and the students who fight it. I should have written it 9 years ago when she asked me to help with her investigation. I said I was too busy with exams. I wasn't too busy. I was too scared, just like Iris. The difference is, I didn't watch her die. I just wasn't there to prevent it. Thank you for being there when the rest of us failed her. Alex Bennett. Sam read the letter 3 times, then filed it with the case documents. Alex was right about one thing. Chloe had deserved better. But at least now, her story was told. Her evidence had destroyed Cross's network. 13 other students had come forward with their own stories of exploitation. And Chloe's name wasn't a mystery anymore. It was a warning, a call to action, a reminder that silence, whether from fear or jealousy, can be just as deadly as violence. Cold shadows. YT reminds you, sometimes the greatest betrayal comes from the people who claim to love us most. Epilogue. Marian University Memorial. Marian University renamed their journalism building the Chloe Barrett Center for Investigative Reporting. At the entrance stands a bronze plaque with her photo and a quote from her journal. The truth isn't just facts. It's having the courage to speak when everyone wants silence. Iris Kane was charged as an accessory after the fact, but received a reduced sentence due to her cooperation. She served 18 months and was released in 2021. She now volunteers at a domestic violence shelter, working with women struggling to find their voice. She and Alex have never spoken since the trial. Chloe's parents, Lynn and Harold Barrett, established a scholarship for students pursuing investigative journalism. The first recipient was a young woman writing about campus sexual assault, the kind of story that requires courage, persistence, and a willingness to stand alone. The kind of story Chloe would have written. Sam Rivers was promoted to lead detective and now specializes in cold cases. She keeps a photo of Chloe on her desk, not as a reminder of failure, but as a promise to every victim whose voice was stolen. Your silence will not be permanent. Your truth will be heard. Because that's what Cold Shadows does. We find the stories buried in darkness. We amplify the voices that were silenced. We refuse to let jealousy, fear, or time erase what matters. Chloe Barrett mattered, and now, 8 years later, the whole world knows it. A message from Cold Shadows, YT. This story is a stark reminder of how jealousy, left unchecked, can become complicit in tragedy. Iris didn't kill Chloe, but her silence made her guilty. Her choice, driven by envy over a boy who never belonged to either of them, cost her best friend everything. In real-life cases across America, from college campuses to workplaces, we see this pattern repeat. Someone sees something, someone knows something, but fear, self-interest, or twisted satisfaction keeps them quiet. Until it's too late. The lesson is clear. If you witness harm, speak up. If you feel jealousy consuming you, Seek help before it destroys you and someone else. If you know something about a missing person, an assault, a crime, your silence isn't neutrality, it's a choice. And that choice has consequences. If Chloe's story moved you, if you believe voices deserve to be heard and truth deserves to surface, subscribe to Cold Shadows YT. Hit that notification bell, because every week we bring you stories that refuse to stay buried. Stories where silence finally breaks. Stories where justice, though delayed, arrives. What case should Cold Shadows investigate next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Remember, in the shadows, truth waits, and we'll always bring it to light. See Cold Shadows YT, where silence ends and truth begins. This story is an original production for Cold Shadows YT. Unauthorized reproduction or re-upload without credit is prohibited. The end.